Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of Read TFOS, where I take old stories I've narrated and update into modern audio standards. This particular story is called Silver-Tongued Liars, written by Scientific Theory. Liars. Very good liars. Some lies they call fiction. Some they call propaganda. They lie so well, they even start to believe it themselves, and then the impossible happens. They make the lie into reality. That is why we have learned to fear humanity. It was massive, standing easily 14 feet tall. It towered over everything and everyone present. In disbelief, the service coordinator found themselves glancing at the event list before making the logical connection that this was unplanned. The security guard standing next to it looked a little pale as he tried to babble out an explanation.
Sorry to disturb you, ma'am. It just arrived a little bit back and asked to see who made the lie of the future. Not 100%, but we think it means you.
The tablet rattled against the ornate silver bracelet as her hand started to shake. She looked up at what was, without a doubt, the most destructive being in the known galaxy.
Yes? Can I help you, sir?
It looked down before sinking low enough to merely loom over her. You are the one who seeks to create the future. Its voice was like gravel, deep and rumbling, and entirely without inflection. The bass of its words vibrated in her lungs. She swallowed before hazarding a response.
I'm not sure. I just handled the schedule for the memorial events.
After a moment, he nodded. A minor lie. You are not the one I seek. I ask you to bend your lies in such a way that I may speak with this false memory. There is much to be said. The poor coordinator dropped a tablet before stuttering out an answer in the affirmative. The guardian rumbled out a final parting line. Thank you. There are 5 of us. We will wait. Before striding off, each step shaking the ground. The security guard helped pick up her tablet before laying a steadying hand on her shoulder.
Right in it.
She just stared at him for a moment before dialing her phone. For being a completely last-minute addition to the ceremony, it wasn't bad. The Prime Minister was taken aback when told that he was going to have 5 Guardians participating in the memorial. But unlike others, he was ecstatic about the optics. It would mark the first time the Guardians had done anything outside of their cryptic thoughts, and the first time they had interfaced with humanity on their own. Not to mention, they were the reason the service was for 5 instead of 500,000. He had more than enough reasons to thank them, and he would get to do so in front of a curious galaxy. Some last-minute strings pulled, and he had everything he wanted. Straightening his suit, he stepped forward to deliver the main history-making event. Etta stood. Etta waited. The small creatures before him droned on, spreading lies. Some Etta imagined to be sincere, others not. Curious little humans. The round one speaking turned and gestured to Etta. Here we have collected before us our beings of honor. I felt confusion. They are the ones who held back the tide, who in the face of utter destruction and hopelessness stood strong and pushed back the swarm, half-truths. They ignored the safety of their fortifications and pressed out, willingly risking their lives to save those of the civilians they had never even sworn to protect. They held back a superior force, purchasing each moment with blood until the entire settlement had evacuated. In honor of their courage, bravery, and sacrifice, lies. For the first time in history, we hereby bestow upon another's military the highest humanity can award, the Medal of Honor. The crowd broke into applause, standing as though the meager gain in stature would project more thanks. Now I will personally place the award for Ita, the being who led their team to victory. The portly human stepped back from his podium, heavy wood providing a false sense of gravity and strength. Waves of humans washed forward with cameras flashing, yet they were not alone. Thousands of others, from as many species, littered the audience, called forward by sickly sweet lies of humanity. Lies I'd fallen for, too. The human waddled forward, placing his hand on my gauntlet. I lowered my head to hear his words. Thank you. My daughter was there and his breath hitched. I don't know what I would have done. You're a great man. Strange. How I wanted to believe him. Leaning back, he squeezed my gauntlet, almost imperceptible, before awkwardly hopping to drape a minute metal disc around my neck. Yet the tears in his eyes told me he believed his lie. He stepped back and gestured to the podium as it slowly doubled and tripled in height. I took my place. Much of what he speaks is lies. The cheering crowd silenced as my words rolled out. We are not beings of honor. We are not truly the ones who held back the swarm. We did not willingly spend our lives for the first time in 100,000 years. We were not brave nor courageous, but detached and stubborn. As you know, the entire settlement was not evacuated. I watched as the professional liars in the front froze before frantically typing words into their data pads. The reason you are here is that there were 5 who ended. 5 humans who had taken it upon themselves to help maintain our fortifications, though unnecessary. We knew they lied when they settled next to our fortification, because they wanted neighbors, and we cared not for it, changed nothing. We asked what they wanted again and again, and they said nothing. They would ask petty favors, such as watching the little ones. We knew was not the truth, yet we still found ourselves minding their spawn, answering questions and battles won before your species walked. The liars in the front had slowed their typing and now did little more than watch me. Every time we met, humanity would lie to us. Walking into town on patrols, we'd pass those struggling to carry their load, but when we took it from them, they would say they didn't need any help, yet thank us. Over time, they began to call us their guardians. Another lie, as we were there solely to prevent hostile claimants from settling, as though the name of the thing would change us. They baked us grand feasts, despite our nutrition being complete, sent little gifts despite us wanting nothing. They sang to us, despite song had been new. Yet, every single time we asked what we owed them, they would lie and say nothing. I briefly tested my weight against the podium, feeling the reinforced frame below it start to give. When the swarm landed, we analyzed the numbers and made the tactical decision to shutter the fort as we have more than 1,000,000 times before. It is impenetrable and would have protected all of us from swarmfall until we could burn them out later, our 5 humans included. But the second the shutters closed, Alan, as weak as the smallest of you, came sprinting into the command center, opened with the little lies that you are so fond of, saying that he deserves to know, as though he were a soldier. I noticed a great human with many small metal pins covertly sending messages. His posture spoke of stress. I took a deep breath, unsettled by the number of beings staring silently at me. I had brought the end to many more enemies many times before, but never had I been the focus of so many others. When we told him of the impending strike, he demanded that we open the fort, that we protect the settlement. I tried inflection. That was our purpose. He then spun out the most beautiful lies we had ever heard. As the other 4 humans arrived, he spoke of how we were heroes, not just giants in stature and strength, but beings of honor, guardians of hope, much like the little one here. He said that we stood ever on the battlefront and held back the raging tides, that because of us there were those that could sing songs and bake cakes and send little gifts. This was more difficult than anticipated, so I allowed myself a little lie. You need to do this. He sold us such far-fetched lies that we stood as soldiers who had served longer than his species had existed, and questioned the wisdom of our decisions. That our mission was not a singular goal that had been set in lost eternities, but flexible, capable of protecting. The recounting felt uncomfortable, but even the boldest of his lies did not move us. The professional liar sat motionless, doing nothing more than broadcasting, telling the truth. We told him that we were humbled by the strength of his lies, but that we would not die for them. He then told us that they were only lies because we allowed them to be. And that the moment we were ready to become true, we only had to choose. I asked him to prove this. I looked into the crowd. Despite towering over the greatest of them, I felt strangely small. They grabbed the only thing they could lift, ancient training pistols, and dragged them out to the entrance. It marked the first time we did not punish theft with cessation, though our inaction killed them. We watched them die in the hope that they would create a truth from a lie. They were all the things you name us, but they were those things in truth. We merely made a choice to accept their lie. We have stood against all hostile forces for millennia, unbending, unbroken, and unchanging. We weathered all enemy incursions, and without fail we burned them out. So it goes. We have spoken to the Central Reporting Post, and they agreed with our conclusions. We would like to change. We have all chosen to disband. We have chosen to join humanity. We will be your guardians. We will make your lies truth. In the silence that followed Ita's pounding walk from the podium, a single pin dropping would have echoed across the thousands gathered. Humanity, young, naive, and generally harmless, had quite abruptly inherited the oldest and most powerful military force in the galaxy. The following cheers were equally shocking in their intensity. Ita reached up to touch the small piece of metal, not quite dangling from he decided, neck. Alan, he thought, would have been pleased with this false memory for him. A promise to the future that he had decided would come true. After so many endless years, Ita would become something new. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Caspar Arnholt, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.